Welcome to Racing Home. So, we've already had 2 rounds of the World Superbike Championship from Phillip Island and Thailand. What have we learnt so far? Well, I think Jonathan Rea, he's the man to beat, let's face it. 3 race wins and a second place. I think the rest of them, they must just hear the the old Jaws music as soon as he gets behind them. But unfortunately, Tom Sykes in Thailand battled in that second race, and boy, did he battle! That was fantastic. Those last few laps. I just reading in Tesco's in Motorcycle News that Johnny Rea wasn't very happy with Tom Sykes cutting underneath him and all that stuff. But Johnny Rea's done that to people before, so he'll just have to get over it, won't he? I think he's going to have a battle on his hands if Tom's like that for the rest of the year. Let's hope so. We don't want another snooze fest like last year, do we? Chaz Davies rode brilliantly in both rounds. Obviously, in Phillip Island, he tipped off in the second race when he was fighting for the win. But there is a definite power disadvantage on the Ducati to the Kawasaki. But hopefully, when they get back to Europe, they'll work on that. But Chaz is riding fantastically. He's really going to have to battle, but he did well at all the European circuits last year, so he can't take too much from the first 2 rounds. Giuliano, yeah, he's still there, as scrappy as ever. He got a third in Phillip Island, denying Nicky Hayden a podium. Speaking of Nicky Hayden, I think he's doing a fantastic job. First race at Phillip Island, obviously cooked his front tyre. But in the second race, he nearly got that third place. And in Thailand, a track he's never been to, he got some good placings. So I think he's just building up. And his teammate, Michael van der Maat, he's doing a brilliant job. At Thailand, they were saying on Eurosport that the Hondas, they've found an extra 9 horsepower, which is quite a lot to find in one go. So, yeah, that's fantastic for the rest of the year, because he was scrapping. I thought he might perhaps win a race at one point, but yeah, he's on the podium. What was it 3 times or something, 3 or 4 times? So yeah, he's doing brilliantly. Hats off to the guy on such an old bike, because let's face it, it is donkey's years old. He's doing a fantastic job. So the Yamahas, yeah, they're not doing bad. Sylvain Guintoli's racking up the points, trying to be consistent. Obviously, this new Saturday and Sunday race will help Alex Lowe's, because obviously after the Saturday crash, he can get the bike rebuilt for the Sunday morning, ready for the race. But yeah, he's had a bit of a trying time so far. Crashed, I think, in both days at Phillip Island, and he had that, or he did on the Friday and he did on the Saturday in the race, and also he had that problem with his bike that I think he ended up 15th in the end. So you can't say the boy's not trying. Who else to talk about? Well, we've got the BMWs. Josh Brooks got some good races in at Phillip Island. Obviously, he didn't do so well in Thailand, but he's never been to the place, and obviously, I think the team are still lacking setup with the traction control and all the electronics, because British Superbike, they don't have that kind of stuff, so obviously they're going to have to catch up. And the revelation of Thailand was Marcus Reiterberger. I think it was 5th place he got in that first race. So he's doing fantastically well on that bike. Obviously Altea, they've had factory bikes for donkey's years, obviously Ducatis. And Jordi Torres, he's a good rider, so they can only get better, I would say. And Carol Abraham was showing a bit of form as well. So once he gets the hang of it as well, I think those 4 could be really good. So all in all, the new format on World Superbike seems to be working out. Particularly somewhere like Thailand, it must have helped the riders out, because those 2 races in one day in that kind of humidity. If you saw the pictures on the well, particularly on Eurosport, Leon Camier and what's his name, Chaz Davies were laying in a little swimming pool like they tend to do at the Suzuka 8 hours, because the humidity is that bad. So yeah, it seems to be working really well, the new format. I wasn't sold on it, but obviously if you go into the track, it's a pain in the ass, because you only get a couple of races in the day. but watching it on telly, I thought it was fine. So the casual viewers will probably be lapping it up. And on the subject of Leon Camier, best not forget about Leon. He did amazingly well at Phillip Island. I think he qualified fifth or something, and went out of one race, but he did get I think was it a seventh? I think it was, and he's currently lying 10th in the championship. So you can't complain about that. And when he's interviewed, he always says he's down on power. So yeah, if they can get a bit more power out the engine and tweak the electronics a bit, he could be a regular, perhaps top 7 finisher, something like that. Let's hope so. Obviously he's British and I want him to do well. So business as usual in World Supersport. Keenan Sofoglu seemed to be the man to beat in Phillip Island. Obviously Jules Cluzel, he had some gearbox problems. I know he crashed in I think it was Super Bowl, and then went into the pits, got his bike fixed, came out again, and he still had a gear selection problem. So he didn't qualify too brilliantly. And then in the race, it looked like he got a false neutral and ran off the track. And then on the coverage at Thailand, he was saying that they're having problems with the selecting gears. I think with the change in the electronics, because this year obviously the Supersport electronics has been dumbed down a bit, because before it was basically like World Superbike electronics, but I think they've got to use electronics that are more standard this year. So anyway, the races, Randy Krummenacher, well done. Obviously Keenan Sofoglu was leading, and he had his problem with the tyre. I think he did it delaminate or something, but he definitely lost pressure and he crashed. Well, that's what we seem to glean anyway. But Krummenacher, considering he was a Moto2 also ran last year, he's fighting for wins in the World Supersport Championship. PJ Jacobson, he was there fighting as well, doing really well. Strange thing is, I'm sure PJ Jacobson, Andrew Pitt used to be his mentor. I could have sworn he was there in his pit at Phillip Island, but yet I'm watching the Thailand race last week, and he's with Randy Krummenacher now. So I don't know if he got a better offer or he started with Krummenacher at the start of the year and I was just mistaken. But it's very strange. Obviously Thailand, it was business as usual with Jules Cluzel. He won the race. Fantastic job. Hopefully the reliability of the MVs will be better than last year, because they've got a limited amount of engines. I guess last year they were probably throwing engines at the bikes, but they're not going to be doing that this year. So there's Cluzel, PJ Jacobson, Krummenacher, the British lads. Obviously Luke Stapleford, he was up to, I think it was 6th on the first land at Thailand, but then he got who was it Zanetti crashed in front of him and took him off the track, but he recovered it. I'm sure he got into the points. And Kyle Ryde, he's not having the best time of it at the minute. I know he retired in Thailand, but once they get back to Europe, get to the home bases and everything, I'm sure things will improve. He can only get better, because he's not had that much experience. It was only a couple of years ago that he was riding Superstock 600. So definitely good stuff. It's getting better. Carl Smith as well. He was having terrible pattering problems in Phillip Island on the front end and the back end of that CIA Insurance Honda, but he was doing pretty well last week in Thailand. So once we get back to Europe, things will level themselves out, and I'm sure we'll be seeing the British lads at the front a bit more in Supersport 600. So all in all, 2 very good rounds. I enjoyed them. I quite like this new format. So fingers crossed the rest of the year is going to be really enjoyable, like all the other previous years in World Superbike. And hopefully Chaz Davis, the rejuvenated Tom Sykes, and the rest of the Superbike lads will take the battle to Johnny Ray, because we don't want another Johnny Ray fest like last year. I know he's a brilliant rider and he's on the best bike out there, but I'd rather see different faces at the front of the grid than just one bloke on the top step all the time. So there you go. Roll on. I think it's Aragon next, isn't it? So